These are my children. Al with foot issues, and Al with no eyes. We're gonna talk about these guys. Before we talk about Al's details and all the good stuff about him, I say we start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. I just quoted Sound of Music, didn't I? I'm sorry, guys. But we're gonna talk about the history of the Squiddy Al, kind of where it came from. Okay, the Squiddy Al is the brother of the Squid Industries Squiddy. This is just a aluminum version. That's where Al came from. That's a truck. And it is the cousin of the Squid Industries Swordfish, which is the first aluminum pinsless design, if I'm right. This is the second, maybe, aluminum pinsless design. Second by Squid Industries, at least. Pinsless meaning it does not run on Zen pins, which would normally be here. I'll show you on something like the Tsunami, which I have with me. See, there are the pins right there. And as you can see on Al, there are no pins. Then on something like the Nautilus, which I do not have in my pocket, that runs on tang pins, which are where there's a pin here and a pin here. And the Al is one of the few Balisongs that is pinsless, no pins whatsoever. And I believe that is something that Squid Industries kind of got started. Same with channel aluminum Balisongs, which they also started. But yeah, just thought talk about the pin system because it's something kind of interesting about the Al. Now, the Squiddy Al was unveiled by Squid Industries at their booth in Blade Show East. I personally was not there, but I saw a video of the Squiddy Al and immediately thought, I'm gonna buy that as soon as it comes out. I did not do that. I missed both, actually all three of the first production drops. That was not a first production drop, that was just a drop. Then I went and bought it at Blade Show West. Blade Show West was insanely fun. I bought all three of these Squiddy Als there. This one's mine, these two. A couple of my friends, Connie and Lincoln, were generous enough to loan out to me for this video. Thank you guys. But now that I have the Squiddy Al, it is a very good addition to my collection. And I believe it's a very good addition to any collection. So if you are on the market for Balisong, I think Squiddy Al's pretty good. Okay, so as you can see here, I have 3 different configurations of the Squiddy Al because it is fairly customizable for an $85 Balisong. Before we get into the different balances and all that fun stuff you can do with it, I'm gonna go over the details, all the, I guess, features of the Squiddy Al, and then we'll get into the comparison between all of its configurations. Squiddy Al is 6061 aluminum. It runs on washers, no bushings. It is pinsless, has T10 hardware. It's got 2 pivot weights in the ends of the handles. They're just pivots, so you can use them as spare hardware, or you can just keep them there or remove them for a different balance. It's just got normal pivots up here, T10. These are double-sided pivots. It's got eye weights in there that you can screw in or screw out and keep in or keep out. You can even have one of them in for a slightly different balance, which I have done one time. It was noticeable, just not enough, because it does look a little bit ugly just having one weight. Those go in with an Allen key, which the Squiddy Al comes with. Squiddy Al comes with no spare hardware in the box, except for what is already in the Balisong. except for the eye weights, which come unscrewed unless you get a tie mod. Then you have to screw them in yourself. Now, something pretty darn cool about the Squiddy Owl, for something so inexpensive, you would think it would be kind of slippery, right? Something like the Volp is very slippery for a $65 Balisong. And there are some others that are kind of in that price range that are known to just fly out of your hands if you try to do a trick. Squiddy Owl is not one of those. It's got this really good grip pattern. Hear that? That's grip. It is very similar to the Squid trainer, if not the same. I do not personally have a Squid trainer, so I would not know. I just heard lots of people say that. It has the same pattern on the handles and the blade. The blade, however, elongates the pattern a little bit so that it can span the entire blade. It's got a very good bite indicator. You definitely feel it when you're chaplaining. It doesn't hurt whatsoever. This is a trainer blade. But it's definitely there, and it lets you know if you make a mistake. It's also got these nice little hairs for if you try to like do an aerial or something and you like miss, I guess. Either that or it's just there for cosmetic, which is probably the case. But like, yeah, you feel that. With the Squiddy Owl being 6061 aluminum, it is important that you don't beat the junk out of it like I'm doing for this video. 6061 is not very durable. However, it's durable enough that you can beat it. It'll just look pretty darn ugly, like my Prisma V2. Now that all the details are out of the way about the Squiddy Owl, I don't think I missed anything. I did miss something. It's got no jimping and no texturing on the side edges. That is something that you should probably know. You don't really miss the jimping that much. I'm still horrible at ladders, but if it were there, it would raise the price of the Balisong in the first place, which kind of defeats the purpose of it being such a low price, high performance flipper. However, it could be nice. The no texturing on the side, you don't really miss that. Just saying. Still very grippy. Now, the different balances. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple of tricks with each of these because there are two tricks that I feel like with the different balances of these three different configurations, they could be, I guess they're the two tricks that would be the most different between the different models. We're gonna start off with the normal Squiddy Owl, and we're gonna do the chaplain. Okay, I'm gonna chaplain for like 20 rotations. That honestly was not something I was expecting from the owls. This one, I fully expected to chaplain very well. It has all the weights in, and that would make sense for it to chaplain really good. This one, on the other hand, I was very surprised with. Since it is missing the two pivot weights in the ends of the handles, I figured that the less end weight would kind of lead to a worse chaplain, but it chaplained just as good as the rest of them. So very surprising. And this one, pretty much the same as the first one. I expected it to do good, and it did do good. Now, the next trick that I'm going to be showing you guys is the fan and choker fan, okay? With all three of these models, it should be slightly different. Okay, so as to be expected, the fully weighted Squiddy Owl did pretty darn good. It's got the nice tip weight, which does help quite a bit. So that's to be expected. This one also did all right. Not as good in my opinion as the stock one because it did have no handle weights, which shouldn't really affect fanning, but for some reason it did. It just didn't perform quite as well. And then this one, for some reason, did pretty good as well. It was a little sketchy at the end with trying to close it from the palm fan, but it still did all right. This one does not have any eye weights, so I expected it to be the worst one, but for some reason, it kind of stayed up to par with the other ones. So, good job, I guess. those are both of the tricks that I have for the different configurations. So now, let me just tell you guys whether or not you should buy one of these. So for what it comes with, 6061 aluminum, good hardware, good washers, good tolerances, no tap, pretty good sound. Weird black residue that it leaves on your fingers if you flip it for too long. All that good stuff. I believe it is definitely worth it. Okay, the black residue is like a bonus thing. You get that for free, so that's pretty cool. But the Squiddy Owl is totally worth every cent in my opinion. $85 for the stock model. $80 for the blemished model if you get lucky enough. And $95 for the tie mod and colored ones, I believe. So that is pretty cool. There are colored ones now. There are red and green currently for the holiday season. And then there will be more colors in the future, which will be very cool. I'll definitely pick one of those up when it is time. Something I want to mention before we end the video, oh, there it is the tuning of the Squiddy Owl. Okay, it's on washers, and for those of you who haven't had to tune any washer Balisongs, like me, this is my first one, it's a fairly good experience, honestly. So, like, if you tighten it all the way, like you would a bushing, the handle does not swing. It's something you should note. If you loosen it a little bit and it swings good, then you can go ahead and tighten it a little bit more until you get it to that point where it is pretty darn tight, but it still has good swing. Okay, the Squiddy Owl does a very good job at its tune job, and when you tune it, it does not have tap, and it has a very small amount of play after a tune. So that is very good job, Squid Industries, for making a good washer Balisong. A very easy washer tune. You are going to want a T10 Torx driver, which I got right here. But if you do that, you will be able to maintain your Squiddy Owl very well and have no issues. Also, oil helps a lot with the tune maintaining for a while. Also, maybe some Loctite, but yeah. Anyway, this is my review of the Squid Industries Squiddy Owl. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I upload lots of content, put a lot of work into it, talk with my community members quite a bit. And if you want to pick up a Squiddy Owl, go for it. Totally worth every cent. Great addition to the collection. Colored ones are out now. Go grab one. But yeah, see you guys later.